Movie news. So there was a month or two ago, there was this big post on Reddit that was like, Bruce Willis sells his face. He's the first actor to register with a deep fake company so they can use his likeness after he dies, or what, since he's retired from acting, I guess. And then the next day, there was another big post on Reddit that that was like, Bruce Willis and his reps deny selling face to deep fake company. So it was quickly dispelled. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because we're entering an age of AI art becoming pretty convincing and pretty useful, especially like as single images. So we're moving towards the weird dystopian, like computers creating art sort of thing. And there's a lot of potential concerns with it that people have. And I wanted to know if I just wanted to get your opinion on it, both of you, just see how you feel about it.
It's hard not to find it a bit depressing, like the automation of like an artistic process. I try to think about like the positives that could come from it, because it's like, well, when people started using cars, I guess like similar conversations would be being had, but in a different field. But yeah, it is kind of depressing, like just how quickly all this stuff is moving. Like the technology is just like moving so scarily fast. It's like, are we just going to be able to like use an algorithm to like write a movie for us in like 15 years? And then let alone like the special effects and like, it's getting crazy. Like just like the technology and, like TikTok or whatever with all this like scanning your face and putting special effects over it. Like you don't really think about how like cheap and effective this kind of stuff's getting.
You mentioned special effects, but I mean, we already have automated simulations for particle effects, for water, for fire effects.
Well,
like it's not like an animator is manually deciding where every single molecule in the ocean in Avatar is going. Like they make simulations, and that's a part of the artistry, is creating the software that winds up doing the work for you in some degree, which I think is very interesting. And I think that the same thing exists in a sense in the AI art that we're seeing right now. So when people are using like, what was it called? Like Dolly and all this weird stuff where they're inputting text to get images out of it. The issue comes from, I guess, the idea that no matter what it's creating, it's using other images as references to be able to interpret and come up with its own image. And so I would say like it should at least list every image that it lifts from. Because if let's say you're feeding the AI only 10 different images and it's all from the same artist, then you've essentially copied the artist's style and created something using only like 10 of their images. Then it's kind of like, okay, well, that should at least be credited, or that should at least, how are we going to reconcile with that? That's part of the conversation right now.
Yeah, I've seen like the same arguments against it, and yeah, it is a weird, vague issue. But it would be nice if they could somehow credit. Like it's all automated anyway. Surely there's some kind of record they could attach to. I don't know. It's all such early days for like where this is going. Like what they're even doing with it. What they're trying to achieve. Like what is the end goal? Like,
yeah. Ralph, have you seen any of this like AI art stuff going around? Like there's subreddits for it now too.
Yeah, I've seen it on Twitter and all kinds of stuff people make.
Yeah, there's really
it's really really interesting technology. Like it is interesting.
I'm fascinated by it because it also raises like the philosophical idea of like, okay, so if a computer is only lifting from other existing things to create art, and that's an issue to people, aren't we also doing the same? Like all of everything in our minds comes from our environment, right? And when we look at ideas of art, we're using other references of art that has existed before, and you can still create that into your own thing. And then it's just a question of like, how much is the computer also creating that into their own thing, right? Or the software, I mean. I don't know. There's still so much to go.
Yeah. No, it does get deep because it's like, yeah, how many layers deep can you go with it? Because if you take that thought to its kind of extreme, it's like, yeah, the computers and the AI is designed and only got there because of humans, so it's almost like an extension of what humans are doing anyway. So you could see it as artistic from that lens.
One shitty thing that is very, very recent and has been happening, and I guess who knows if it's going to become an epidemic, but there was a person that submitted their AI art into an art competition and won without disclosing that it was AI art. And it's like, we can have a conversation about whether or not it should be in a different category, which it probably should, but not disclosing that, like, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, my mind goes to like this kind of like fake face kind of technology.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Deepfake.
There's going to be a point where you won't be able to trust like any video you see online, basically.
Politicians are just going to, every politician's going to be filmed committing a crime, basically. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, gas station
so there have to be some kind of like scan or process or like technology that can figure out like deepfakes and stuff like that. Like that's going to get crazy.
Yeah. I think right now there's an equivalency for technology that can determine whether or not something's a deep fake, but who knows if one will outpace the other, right?
Yeah.
And then we just get into weird uncharted territory where it's like, I guess video doesn't mean anything anymore. I guess there's no such thing as video evidence anymore. Weird.
Yeah, then what do you do?
Yeah, it's I love the idea of AI art. I support it in the sense that I love the technology and I want to see more of it and I want to see what it can do and I'm excited to see what its capabilities are. But probably just be honest with it, label it, try to credit its sources if that's possible. There's some furry websites that have just come out and been like, we are banning all AI art on the platform. It's like, if they don't say whether or not it's AI art, I don't know how you can tell. Like, you can't, there are some ways you can tell, like, depending on what's in it. But also, it's like, you could just make another category for it. I don't understand why you have to ban it on the platform. Just make another category. It's weird. If you use like the water simulation that I was talking about, if you use that in a background of a photo that you drew over, like, is that not some form of AI art? That's like assisted in some way, right? Like, I don't know.
True, yeah, like doing a drawing on an iPad almost.
Or like you use the tablet and you're using the software, and let's say you use like the spray paint tool. Like you're not putting in each of those speckles. You're like sort of guiding it into its own simulation.
Well, yeah, you can set like custom brushes where the computer helps your lines be smoother or whatever you need it to be.
It looks like a brush or whatever.